Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to World of Tanks with me, the Smudge. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done one of these, hasn't it? So, I know what you're all thinking. Smudge, what the bloody hell is that? That, chaps, is a tank. More specifically, this is the STRV 103-0 Swedish Tier 9 tank destroyer. And I've been playing a lot of this tank lately. And there's a few very good reasons for that. Firstly, because they did a special not too long ago, and I managed to acquire 3 female crew members up here. And yeah. So they've been carried their way all the way up this tech tree. Where have we gone? All the way to here. Not quite the tier 10 yet, but we're working on it. So, what is this tank and what does it do? Well, this tank is one of the first vehicles, it's one of the first 3 tanks to be introduced into the game that use the unique siege mode. What's the siege mode, Smudge? Good question, glad you asked. Basically, this tank has 2 modes. By pressing the X key in battle, you switch between modes. You have travel mode, where this tank is insanely fast, being able to travel at 50 kilometers per hour forward, 45 kilometers per hour backwards, which is quite frankly French levels of reverse speed. Takes 2 seconds to switch into the siege mode, and then 1.25 seconds to switch out of siege mode into travel mode. Now think of it this way. Travel mode means you move, siege mode means you shoot. And when it comes to shooting, oh boy, that gun. Oh, this is... Let's do it down here to make it easier. So, we've got a 105... I'm not even going to try and pronounce that massive letters. It's a gun, it's good. Now, unfortunately... You're going to have to take these statistics for granted a little bit. Obviously, 105mm caliber, 6.98 rounds per minute. With my setup, I do need to add, I've got Sisterhood of Steel on this tank. So, you know, that is going to factor into it. And I am also using a medium caliber tank gun ram, which I highly recommend you use. So the standard penetration on our APCR shells, yep, APCR is standard, 308mm. On a tier 9 tank destroyer. Wow. And if that's not enough, so in other words, when you start shooting at IS-7s, or Mouses from the front, Mouses, I don't know, 350mm penetration with your premium APCR ammunition, which I don't tend to use a whole lot of because you don't really need them when you have 308mm of penetration. And then 53mm penetration on high explosive rounds, which is great for dealing with artillery, but that's about it really. 105mm gun, so standard 390 alpha damage on the APCR, 480 on the HE. 0.4 dispersion at 100 meters. I'm sorry, what? Well, no. This is the part where you kind of have to start ignoring these statistics. The reality is that is the dispersion and aim time for the gun when the tank is in travel mode. When it's in siege mode, the gun actually has 0.3 accuracy, which is more than good enough to aim for weak spots at distance. I don't know what the aiming time is, but I honestly don't think it really matters, because in the time it takes you to switch into siege mode, you're going to be fully aimed anyway. Yeah. So, just before we move on to the survivability tab, which we're going to... yeah, you'll understand in a second. Just want to make a few notes of this tank. So, my setup right now, I am running camouflage net, binoculars, and tank gun rammer. Tank gun rammer is an obvious one. Camo net, tank destroyer. This is very much a red line camping sniper tank. You sit at the back of the map in a bush and you pray nothing spots you because you have a monstrous concealment rating. And you're going to need that in this tank. You also have binoculars. Now, this tank, being a tank destroyer, has terrible view range, but there is something quite unique about this vehicle, and that is this gun cannot traverse at all. Nope. Instead, you move the entire tank to aim. That's where the siege mode comes in, which you're going to see a bit more of later on. But you can, however, 100% turn the tank in a 360-degree circle without deactivating your camo net and binoculars, provided you don't touch the W and S keys. Alright. So, right now, we've got an amazing tank with ridiculous mobility, amazing concealment rating, not too bad spotting capabilities, and a monstrous gun with some crazy DPM. This gun will put a shot out just over every 7 seconds with my setup. So what's the catch then, Smudge? Well, It's the hull armour. Oh dear. Oh no. 40 millimeters. 40 millimeters on the front of the tank. 30 on the sides. 30 on the rear, but it's a tank destroyer, so if you're showing your sides and rear, well, you just got to accept the death, basically. So, yeah, it's not great. Especially since Wargaming cancelled their overmatch mechanic changes, probably because they saw how bloody monstrously well these tanks were doing, and thought, nah, we don't want any of that. Smudge, how can a tank be doing so well with only 40 millimeters of frontal hull armor? Well, look at that sloping. So, we're going to talk about the overmatch mechanics in just a second, but first, this is a clip I recorded a couple of weeks ago of what happens when a bunch of tanks decide to shoot you in the front from a range and don't know where to aim. Alright, so strap yourselves in, boys, this one's going to get a little bit messy. So, quick disclaimer before we get too far into this, I am using the stock gun. The only difference between the stock gun, there are two differences between the stock gun and the upgraded gun which you saw in the garage. Stock gun's barrel's a bit shorter, so the shell velocity is a little bit lower, and the penetration is 20 millimeters lower, but still gives this tank 288 millimeters of penetration with a standard APCR ammo. And as this very unfortunate T-54 Mod 1 is going to find out, it's going to negate his armor to, well, pretty much 0. So that was 2. We reload, and there's 3. There we go. Beautiful. So a few tanks over there. I managed to make my way into a bush. That's what this tank does. It camps the bush. And the TVP spotted us, so 1 bounce, 2 bounce, because the TVP's gun, I believe, is 105mm. I could be wrong about that. We've got a Leopard prototype joining us. So, how does the overmatch mechanic work in World of Tanks? Because you're going to be driving the S tanks, i.e. the UDES, the 1030 and the 103B. You need to understand that what it comes down to is the caliber of the gun that's firing at you. I have 40mm of armor in this tank. Now, if the gun firing has more than 3 times in terms of millimeter caliber than your tank does armor, it is going to overmatch and instantly penetrate. But as these guys are finding out, with their, 100mm and 120mm, they can't get through my armor. They need 121mm guns or higher to penetrate my tank. And the T-54 lightweight figured out the secret. We're going to talk about that in a second. He's either hit one of my weak spots, or there is something else you can do. Oh dear. That is a TVP who is, very fortunately for me, tunnel visioned on the Leopard prototype A. So we're going to do everything we can to help him out. We plonk one in him. The shell whizzes past me. I think it was an AMX 1390. Who drives up, bounces a shell on me, gets me in the track, repair that, focus on him. He bounces again. What is going on? This is madness. His tracks eat the shell. The Object 140 is getting involved now. How many shells just hit the tank over the course of me talking? And again, there's another one from the T-54 lightweight. Come on, get the gunner out. Nope, the TVP is dead. Well, that's great, we don't have to worry about him. Now, the Object 140, I think, was looking to shoot me. But instead, I think he's shooting at the prototype behind me. Well, he's a bit dead now, so probably not. And he gets dumped in the face by something. And then that mill from earlier is about to come round the corner and decides to have another go. So I fire, I aim too high, I hit the upper plate, and the shell bounces off. The angling of that tank means that pretty much anything is going to bounce off the upper plate. I was aiming for the lower one, but my hands are a bit shaky. But he gives us the side of his tank, which we have no problem penetrating. Bounce another shell from him, and this time we get the lower plate and knock out his tank. Oh boy, this machine is ridiculous. In the right situation, this tank is absolutely insane, but as soon as you get Russian 122mm guns firing at you, you're going to see that health start to really dissipate. Now we're looking for a shot on the 1030. We get it, he's only got 30mm to side armor, and at that angle, yeah, it's just negatable completely, so that P gets taken down. I think that's pretty much going to be it. We go on to do a little bit more damage and get a couple more kills. But let's move on to something else. We're on Paris, it's a tier 10 matchup, but you know what? Couldn't care less, because we have this monstrous gun. We are still using the stock gun in this replay. I have had some pretty amazing games with In fact, I've actually had my most damage ever achieved in a single battle with this tank using the top gun. I just didn't really feel like showing that replay though, because it just isn't quite as good as some of these other ones. Just like this one. So we're going to head down and get in position in the usual tank destroyer camping bush. Because that's what you do in the STRV 103. We camp the bush. Any second now. Drive forward into this bush, and our first targets are going to appear. There's a Centurion 1 up on the left, there's an E50, Panzer 7. Not overly too worried about those guys though. I'm looking for a shot just in case, but we've got a Type 62 and a WZ-132 pushing up to do the light tank thing on Paris. They're going to regret it. Spoilers. So the Type 62 pushes up, and we take off officer points. Now we do get spotted though, so yeah, the WZ fires, but again, doesn't have a 121mm gun, so he can't overmatch the armour. So I pull back, try to reposition, try to disappear, but I'm looking at the RU-251 and thinking he's going to need some help up there. And now there's a CDC joining the fun. Looking for a shot at Type 62, it's not quite going to happen. Then I spot the CDC. Now I'm trying to do the hide behind the bushes thing, but this is kind of a misplay at the minute, because really I should be driving forward to assist the RU-251. I have the armour I need to bounce the shells from these guys. Get a nice big hit into the WZ-132. He gets finished off with the RU-251, and then the Type 62 gets finished off as well. So 866 damage, nothing overly spectacular just yet, but then that CDC comes back. So we plonk a shell into his side armour, which he so gratefully gives us. Look at the TVP. I do get the tracks blown off, that is. Bit of a problem with this tank, if you lose your tracks, you are completely defenseless. Finish off the CDC. Get spotted, and UDES takes the tracks off again. So now we play the waiting game until they get repaired, so yeah. Hindsight, probably should have taken repairs on this tank. UDES bounces again. I don't think he can actually see us at this point, I think he's just firing blind. There it is again, another bounce, because again, the UDES only has a 105mm gun. He cannot overmatch this armour. While firing at him, on the other hand, be a very, very different story. And that's pretty much why I'm not going to be doing a UDES review anytime soon. So I've just noticed that T-54 Mod 1 is having some trouble with the E50. Oh, that was a mouthful. Right. Exit the siege mode, because you are completely immobile while exiting siege mode, and then I spot the Centurion 1. I think, oh yes, I'll have me a bit of that. So plonk one in his side, pull back, don't get spotted, so we pull forward again, reload the gun. He's trying to work out what's going on, but it's a bit too late for that now, buddy. So I'm keeping an eye on that TVP, because I want to give him my side. And then we track the E50, who has most definitely spotted us. But the E50 has a 105mm gun. Oh no, E50. M40 Walker Bulldogs pushing around his flank. He's staying focused on me. There's nothing he can do. He's just waiting for death. He bounces on us again. He could have actually been aiming for our weak spots. There are a few on this tank, but they're not the easiest to hit. That Commander's Cupola being the main one. Shot on the 103B, but I think he's actually behind that building, so that's not going to happen. So we push forward again into the next bush. There's E50M, and there's the UDES. Let's take a shot at the E50. Can't get one on him, so in the UDES. What is he doing? That's the one problem with the siege mode, especially the UDES, kind of tends to get itself into some weird angles and then negate what actual armour it actually has. So we're going to drive forward, try and get ourselves a little bit more damage. I don't think there's going to be much more to be had, because that 103OB, oh, he's very, very dead. So it's just the E50M and the artillery, so we drive up the hill. This is a bit of a problem with the tank. You saw the suspension bounces there? This tank is not very stable on the move. It Now the E50M manages to get one through us. I think he's hit a weak spot. Now the other thing you can do when fighting the STRV 103 or 103B, well, less so the 103B because it has that heat shield, is fire heat shells. Because as you probably guessed it, heat shells don't get affected by normalization in the same way as AP or APCR shells. Now, should you be unlucky enough to find yourself facing off against something like an IS-3 or a T-10 or just anything with a 121mm gun or over, the simple answer is don't fight them head on. Just try not to fight the tanks head on. Try and get some separation, try and get away. You can, however, angle your armor a little bit to the side and you might be able to bounce a shell or two. It's going to look something like this. Alright guys, that's it from me for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did and if you want to see more. Also check out my Twitch channel, the link is in the description. Occasionally I play World of Tanks and War Thunder on there. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good day. Don't start talking. I could talk